Hey, Bobby, we are just getting started. I'm giving everyone a chance to jump in. I'm also waiting on Jax to join so that he can co-host this because I'm in a little bit moving around today. But um, let's just wait for a few. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it.
Mm, Yeah, I just thought I'd hop in for a while. I'm probably gonna be here for an hour maybe. Me and my girlfriend are gonna watch a movie later. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. Hey, Loner, I see that you're joining. Just so you know, I'm inviting almost everyone to speak. We're just getting rocking and rolling here. I'm waiting for some people to jump in. Seems like you and Bobby are the first two that are in, but we'll just give it a chance. Thank you for joining. The space, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say thanks for hosting.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Jax is now in. I'm going to invite him to co host. There we go. The space today, as people start to roll in, and we'll probably repeat this a few times, it's minority and queer communities, NFT, and the Web3, but we really want to shift the conversation. We've been talking about the importance of diversity and the importance of diversity and the importance of representation in this space. But I also want to talk about the power that we have in these communities that we're growing and building and what we can actually do and how we can actually enact change. Um, as more people start to jump in, we'll really get into it. But really, that's sort of the viewpoint of this conversation. And we'd love to obviously hear from everyone and their point of view on what we actually want to do in this space together. We're waiting on some people to join. Galactic Gaylords, I see that you just joined. I'm going to go ahead and invite everyone to speak for the most part. So just so that you know, we're just waiting for people to join. But the space is really going to focus today on. We've been talking a lot about the importance of representation in NFT and in Web3, and I want to switch the conversation to what we're going to do and build together in these spaces. I know Jax is going to co-host, and hopefully we'll see some more people join. These spaces have honestly been really amazing. Um, we've seen such a diverse group of people come together and exchange ideas, which is what we love and what we're at Yes Queen Club are really founded on. As a community, we're hoping to 100% of the proceeds go into a DAO, and the money that's in the treasury from that DAO, as a community, we're going to vote and decide what to do with that money. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about the power of community. Essentially, we can raise, or potentially we can raise $3 million, which is a big pot of money, and it'll be an organization by us for us. And it puts the tools in our hands to be able to affect change. And if as a community we say, hey, we have $3 million and we really want to affect change in this one area, we can put $1 million behind that or whatever it is. And what I've learned from doing these spaces and from jumping into other spaces, that having a diverse group and like representation across the board just brings so many rich ideas to the table. And that's the coolest part of all of this, is the fact that like it's not just one viewpoint or one person. It's all different cultures, all different ethnicities, all different backgrounds, genders, sexualities, and with that, everyone has their own journey and their own experience, and we get to really shape and come up with ideas that are incredible.
Yeah, can I just echo that point? Because currently I'm a product designer at a like big tech company, and I feel like that's been a big problem with what we have currently in our system, where we use that buzzword of empathy like it's nothing, and but what we're learning is that in that quote unquote empathy there's still so much bias and projection around what I would do or think, and that could be completely different based on your someone else's personal experience. So I feel like what's really cool about this new space, or what you're hosting here, is exactly that. Like, I bring my perspective but you bring your perspective, and we we share that, and it's not one group telling everyone how to kind of fit into this box anymore. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, that's exactly one of the things that I love the most about NFTs and the tools that NFTs bring to the table. And that's why I really think NFTs empower communities in a very powerful way, really. And that's exactly what you were talking about. It's I love DAOs because finally people can have real voices, and they can share their products, and the community can decide if those products are going to be approved or not. It really is a very powerful way to build a community, and that's a lot of the things that we wanted to talk about today. It's because this is our third space that we're doing, that is around diversity, inclusivity, and visibility in Web3. But and we are very excited because every space that we're participating, we see everyone talking about diversity, the need of bringing diversity into Web3. But now we are starting to ask ourselves, that's really cool. We are very happy that everyone is talking about it, but how do we get there? And what are the things, the actual things that we can do, um, to really bring diversity? And if we build a community, and that's our idea behind Yes Queen Club, is we want to build this community. Everyone that is gonna come into this community is chipping in by buying the NFT. The money of the purchase is going 100% into the treasury of the DAO that we created, and that money is going to be spent by the community for the things that the community is going to elect. So we would love to hear from everyone, um, what you guys think about that, and what are the things that you personally would feel passionate about spending that community money in. So if anyone wants to chip in, I would love to hear.
Yeah, and I just quickly want to jump in, and sorry if there's any background noise, and say, like, I think this is the really big difference between Web 2 and Web 3 and what we're talking about here is that we actually now all have access to these tools and to the toolbox. So, like, what are we going to do with it? Let's stop talking about it in the hypothetical. What are we actually going to do with this community that we're building together? And there's nothing like reaching into a group of diverse communities. So if anyone has any ideas or what we can do or how we can affect change, this is what we want to build and how we would like to start this and hear from everyone.
Bobby, you can go ahead and speak. You have your hand up.
Okay, so the way I see it is I kind of, when it comes to this idea of like diversity, how we should, where the money should be going, I always think, I kind of think of it as like math. I always like, what is the lowest common denominator? And the way you do that is by looking at intersections. What are the intersections that are most affected and most impacted? And the money should be going towards there. As we know, Black trans women, Black trans disabled women especially, are the most widely impacted in the United States, for example. Um, I and they have been like Black trans women have been instrumental to the queer to the LGBTQ movement since Pride started in the Stonewall riots. I think that we should look at those intersections. Like, is the money going towards like disabled people? Is it going towards like basically look at putting the money where it needs to go? That's my opinion on that.
Yeah, I think you bring a good point. And yeah, I love the fact that you bring the fact that Black trans people have been in the forefront of this movement, and they don't get the recognition for it. So I would love to figure out a way of bringing those funds to enact change, in their lives personally. Those are the things that I would like to see Yes Queen Club do. Make personal changes to the people in the community, for the community in general as well. Lex, you have your hand up. You can go next.
Thanks. Yeah, totally echo what Bobby had mentioned about making sure we are benefiting the lowest common denominators. I feel like, as queer people, we've all kind of, felt different impacts of, socioeconomic disadvantages or, cultural disadvantages, et cetera. So I do think that's an important area to look at. And what I also think of, hypothetically, if say there were some queer organization or queer DAO or something that had $3 million at its disposal, I would also kind of look at how we can multiply this amount within the community so that we can enable more initiatives, so that beyond just say a $3 million treasury or something like that, we can maybe leverage those funds to benefit queer artists, specifically in onboarding them, making sure that they have the resources they need to scale their projects, because then that's how you get that kind of snowball effect. A successful queer project will see more secondary sales, it will see higher one-on-one sales, etc. And if those projects are, say, funded by like a grant through like some sort of DAO specifically oriented towards benefiting queer artists, then we can see those kind of, I guess, trickle-down effects that benefit folks of different backgrounds, different communities, because that's just sort of how we can kind of, I think, multiply that effect to benefit not only, say, like Black, queer, BIPOC people, but people of all kinds that maybe we're not even thinking of, that someone could launch a project with our help and see the benefits there.
Yeah, I love that, Lex. Actually, those are some of the points that you brought up are actually some of the ideas I have personally. And, if when we do bring, Yes Queen Club is launching next week, and if all goes well and we do sell and our treasury does get to the $3 billion hypothetical that we're bringing here, this is really the math. If the whole collection sells, this is the amount of money our treasury would have. And I've been thinking, what we as a community would do, and the things that you mentioned, there are some of the things that have crossed my mind. And one of my day jobs is I run a crypto investment fund with my brother, and we have developed a algorithm for investment that has been quite successful. And I would love to use that algorithm with the treasury funds to help multiply that money to then in turn be able to distribute that between the members of the community, the owners of the NFTs. And also we could assign those funds that are being multiplied to projects like creating grants for queer artists, helping them launch collections by paying up front for their art and then bringing it to the market. We're going to have a community of people that have invested in NFTs. They are familiar. So we will already have a good market to be able to sell that kind of art. So I think we could do a lot of cool things with artists. I love the points that you brought up. Bobby, you can go next.
Okay, I guess I want to clarify what I said. I'm not saying all the money should go to Black trans women or anything. What I'm saying there is that that's where the intersections should start. Like, if you're looking at creating a hierarchy of where the money should go, it should be going to the people who would most benefit. I'm just saying, like, there are several different intersections you can go up from, but you should start at Black, disabled, trans women or black disabled trans people, black disabled non-binary people, you should start there because they're the most impacted. And then you go up from there, going to disabled indigenous people and then to PLC, like people of color, like that are affected in multiple different intersections, and use the intersections to create this hierarchy and use this hierarchy to basically, like, your hierarchy dictates who gets the money first and who you're looking at first.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying. Yeah, I didn't think you were saying that all the money should go to. I think I had understood your point first, but thank you for clarifying. Drag Queens, you have your hand up. You can go next.
Hey guys, thanks for hosting the space. And forgive me because I'm still trying to understand this whole world that we're living in right now with NFTs and everything else in the metaverse. But I was wondering, what if you guys were to expand your Yes Queen Club into the metaverse with like a space in the metaverse where artists can go display their work. You can even charge a fee for artists to be there, which can expand even further your DAO. And I mean, if I'm not making any sense, like, then just tell me so, because like I said, I don't really know I don't know much about this space. So like, I just know, like, in virtual reality already, you can have these kind of like apps and whatnot to like go in and socialize with people, view people's artwork and stuff like that. So what if there was like our own little, you know, society calls us misfits. So what if there was this own little island of misfit toys that we had of our own, where we can just be ourselves, display our work, and like I said, at the same time, you can charge artists to rent space there, so that can expand on what you guys are trying to do, and of course, the charities are important as well.
Yeah, no, you make perfect sense, and we've had those conversations with some other people as well. There are virtual worlds like Decentraland and Sandbox. We could definitely build a gallery space or just a meeting space for queer, which could be a very um, cool idea, and it could be very special for young people growing up in this space and trying to figure out and looking for safe spaces where they can meet people they are alike. I think this is a very powerful idea that we have talked about, and what I love about this is that anyone as a member of Yes Queen Club would be able to bring forth a proposal like that, which is putting funds towards um, Black trans people, or putting funds towards um, building a safe space in the Centerland for young queer people. So that would be a great idea. I would be very in favor of doing something like that. I think it's super cool. Um, I'm not sure. Is it Loner or Yoner? You can go next.
Oh yeah, it's loner. It's
Loner.
dumb. Um, I love the idea of like supporting queer artists, and it's like a shame. I feel like there's still not enough queer stuff in the world, but I think it's also important. Like, what is the like basic needs hierarchy? Like the homelessness, or like the queer population experiencing homelessness is huge. Like, and I feel like there's a lot of impact that like this could have, starting at people's basic needs, where like they might not be even thinking about creating art when they don't know like where they're going to sleep or where their next meal is going to come from. And there's amazing organizations. One of my favorite in LA is called SPY, Safe Place for Youth, and they really support like the kids. There's like art, and they have like art rooms, and they have um, people who come and teach and support in that way. But yeah, I feel like that would be something that's really I feel like that would be the most beautiful thing for me to see in this space, and I hope the world to see, like for us to be taking care of each other and like looking out for each other. But yeah.
Yeah, I love that idea, Loner. I think if we can do those things, it would be amazing. I think all the ideas that were brought up, you know, are really valid, and I hope we can really do them because those things are all very needed. And I think that's the really cool thing that gets me excited about Web3 and NFTs is that you can achieve those things together if you create a community around it. The funds can be achieved. There's a lot of power in selling 10,000 NFTs and getting that money together and then, creating a real impact with that money. um, I would love to. That's our dream at Yes Queen Club, and hopefully we'll get there. We're launching next week, and I can't wait to see what we can do. It's to me it's very exciting because I see a world of possibilities that like every day I actually just you know daydream with a one of the things that you were mentioning about creating like an actual space in the real world. I think of all these young queer people, they're in middle America or somewhere else, that are not exactly accepted by their families. They come out to their parents and they get kicked out of their house. Where do they go? Having a space that could host these people to me would be amazing. Having a space where they can just go and spend a day, meet people they're alike, and just talk to someone that is like them would be an amazing thing. If one day we can do that, I mean, that would be the best day of my life, really. You can go ahead, Loner.
Yeah, definitely. Or even like you talk about like middle America, but in these spaces, I've heard from like artists in Nigeria, and they remind me that like there's still countries where it's illegal to be who we are, and a decentralized web allows for people in those areas to create their own economy and also just have community in outside of the physical space. I do think they are super connected still, having something digital but at the same time physical.
Yeah, I think that's what drag queens was talking about would be so powerful, right? Because that becomes worldwide. If you can just go in your computer and log in into this virtual world where you can go to an actual physical space with some sort of resemblance of a body or an avatar, and you can just hang out with people that are alike and feel safe and be able to talk about things that you can't talk with your friends at home because you live in a place where being queer is not accepted. Your parents don't accept who you are. So I think that would be amazing, and I think it's really important. That's something that enacts instant change in the world. I think you're really saving that person. I think that's amazing. I love that. That would be a really cool thing to do. And I think part of creating diversity is about visibility. So I think another part, a big part of of creating diversity in Web3, in the virtual world, the metaverse, and in general, it's about making people visible. Um, you know, People knowing that you are there, and that's why I love the idea of a queer PFP project, because instead of being a CryptoPunk or a Bored Ape, which are cool projects. You can just have your Yes Green Club uh, avatar, and people know instantly what you're all about and what you're supporting. I think that's very powerful. I see I see all these women led and led projects that are coming out, and that makes me very happy because I want to say probably 3-4 months ago there were none and no one was talking about, and now today we have probably 10-15 projects that are doing super well, and even the crypto bros are starting to support them. You see them buying them, you see them talking about them. To me that's amazing. It's incredible how quick that change happened. That makes me very happy, and I look forward to the day that the same thing will happen to with queer projects where anyone anyone will be just happy to talk about it and support, because you don't have to be queer to support this, right? It shouldn't be about that. It's about um, having equality for everyone. So I really look forward to the day, and it makes me happy every time I see a new queer project popping up. People, trying to create this diversity. I think I love seeing spaces and projects surround around that subject. I think it's really cool. I wanna see more and more, and I want to see people talking about and supporting them. Does anyone have any other idea of things that we could do as a community to, really enact the things that we've been talking about: diversity, inclusivity, and visibility for queer people in the metaverse? I would love to hear from you guys. Jay, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I think that like what you guys are doing right now, like holding these spaces and putting yourself out there and talking about it, that's like to me, I'm sure it's been said before I jumped in here, but to me that's the most important thing because it without these spaces, I wouldn't have even known that there was such like a big queer community in NFTs. Because the first time I got on here, I was like, okay, I see like women in NFTs, so let's go there. And then like I kind of had to like follow the cookie crumb trail to find my people, right? So I think if we're in these spaces and we're hosting and we're including in the topic like queer space or something along that line, it'll be a lot easier for those newcomers to find us, and it'll be putting our name out there for people who aren't, in our community, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I think like visibility is everything. So, and it's exactly what you said. Now that you came in, you saw all these women-led projects, and I'll tell you, 3 months ago there were none. I remember seeing World of Women, and when they first came in, there was a lot of backlash. People saying, "Why would you need a woman-only project?" Um, I remember seeing a lot of that, and today no one even questions. And so it's great to see that, and I hope we'll see the same with queer projects. Lex, you can go and speak.
Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to jump onto what Jay had said on kind of that visibility aspect. I feel like whenever I'm looking for spaces to join, I'm definitely looking for different keywords. So I'll frequently just like go in and type in like NFT. I'll type in LGBT. I'll type in queer, just as names I'm kind of looking for in the title. So I definitely think having some sort of way of signaling to other queer people interested in the space would be good, whether that's a hashtag or some type of just common language that, as I guess the first folks in the queer NFT space, uh, we could potentially lay the groundwork for, so that when people see that signal, they're like, okay, I know that I can simply just search this term or this hashtag and immediately find other affiliated spaces. thinking about a certain subject, like in this case, hypothetically, how could we use the the value of this project if once it fully sells out, maybe just having a prefix or a suffix to this sort of a space where it's like hashtag NFT queer NFT or something like that could be a way of just signaling to other people navigating the space.
Yeah, no, that make perfect sense. We might just go there and edit the subject right now because that is a great idea actually. Um, yeah, it's we're excited. We're looking forward to see what comes out of this project. It's all very new to us too, and I'm just dying your curiosity. I'm like, can I speed up time so we can get to launch date and see how we can build this community and we can start working on it? It really gets me super excited. So I just want next Tuesday to come right away so we can go ahead and start working on it.
Yeah, and I think we've had a lot of conversations around representation and diversity in this space, and it is so important. And I think without representation and without diversity in this space, we can't make this space for ourselves, and that is the base of everything that we do. But more than representation and diversity, I also want to really shift the conversation on what we can actually do together. Now that we're here, now that we're creating these safe and diverse spaces with representation in them, what are we going to do with this money? What are we going to do with these DAOs? What are we going to do with these tools? And facilitating that conversation, there's so much power behind that, because for us, there's power in just being present and, representing our communities and who we are and saying we're here and we're proud. And then separate from that, now we have these tools and access to this toolbox. So I want to use those tools and really help our communities grow and flourish the way that they're supposed to. Loner, I saw that you had your hand up. I'm not sure if you want to take the space.
Oh no, I feel like I'm talking too much, and I yeah.
There's no such thing as talking too much. I mean, we're here to share our ideas. If you have something to say, you're more than welcome to chip in. We're eager to hear from everyone. It's better than I'm always talking to myself, so it's nice to to hear
Same.
someone else.
Okay, same. Yeah, cause I'm for a while it was trying to understand the space, but there's just so much happening, and also trying to create art at the same time can be a lot. But I'm looking into Solana right now and thinking through people are just building their own minting sites through stuff like that, but can we create something all together where someone could go similar to these spaces, I want to find all the queer NFTs, art, photography, music, all of that in one space, and can we build that all together, and then that becomes our own economy, our own way for the people we were talking about in different countries, can they sign into this world now and sell their art to other queer people, and it kind of builds this little corner or our table in the metaverse. Not that it's exclusive or anything like that, but just where people can find it, because it can be so isolating being queer, being non-binary, being trans. This could be a space where you have a huge community now. But I don't know much about that yet. I need to do more research on Solana and what it would be to build all that, or yeah, I'm not so sure if other people have more information on that.
I mean, it can definitely be done, but sometimes I wonder if it would be better to have a marketplace there is queer only, or if the better way would be to have the big marketplaces like Coinbase and OpenSea, have them highlight queer projects. which we've been talking with some of them, and that's really what we would like to see is, there should be a section where they're highlighting queer projects and other minorities, so there's more diversity in the space in general. So if when I think about that, I would love to see them do that. See OpenSea have a highlighted section of queer projects, a highlighted section of female projects and BIPOC and other minorities. It would be to me that would be the ideal, because you're bringing that forward to the general population instead of trying to bring the general population to a specific market. You go to their market and you highlight our projects to them. That to me would be ideal. And I'm not giving up on it. We've been talking a lot with Coinbase about their new marketplace, and we've been trying to show to them that diversity should be a big concern for them, and they should be making sure that they create a diverse marketplace that highlights all these minorities, and that people have a chance to see all this beautiful work that is being done by people that don't get a lot of time in front of the mainstream market. So I would love to see that. That would be great. I think
So
go
go
ahead, Chris.
T, if you want to go ahead. I was just going to say, just to circle back, we've had there's some new people in the room. We've had a bunch of conversations about diversity and representation in NFTs or in Web3 and the importance of it. And we're shifting the focus of, now that we're here and we're present, we're shifting the focus on, with our access to the toolbox, what exactly we're going to do with these tools. And we'd really love for it to be like an open forum discussion. We're looking for ideas. The way that Yes Queen Club is set up, everyone that purchases a queen, 100% of the proceeds goes into a DAO. And in that treasury, everyone that's a member will be able to vote and decide what to do with that money. If we sell out, we'll have $3 million together as a community. And we want to hear from a diverse group of people, because that's what we're hoping our community will be. It's a diverse community that's representative of everyone, what we can do and how we can shape the community with this money. I mean, we now have access to the tools. So with $3 million, and I mean, some incredible ideas have come up, and it's my favorite part about these rooms is the representation and the diversity that's in them. Everyone comes from a different walk of life and brings a different idea. I don't never again. Your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yes, hi everybody. I just wanted to tell you that I'm support your cause, and I was just here to say hi, but I don't really understand English, and you speak technically for me, as I want to say bye to you and share and a lot of good things and good luck and a lot of voilà, positive vibes. Voilà. Have a good evening. Have a good evening. Bye.
Thank you so much, Never Again. It's a pleasure to have you here. And I love hearing the sounds of the kids in the background. We're trying to have kids ourselves, so I love hearing that. Thank you for joining in, and hopefully we're not speaking too fast for you and you're able to follow up.
Yes, yes. You love to learn the kids, but at this time I really want to don't hurt them. But it's like that. So goodbye and thank you. Goodbye.
So Jax, going like what you said about like OpenSea and stuff, like I definitely agree with that, but do you think like we should be just like waiting for straight people to be like, okay, you can play in our like playground? Or well, I think they need to be doing that, but like sometimes I think like they're not changing as quickly as I would like the world to be changing, and maybe we can have more impact with like doing our own thing, and then they see like what we can do as a community and they want to become a part of that. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud, but that was kind of my initial reaction to it. I think it's great and allies are so important, but I think having something for us by us is even more important.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're not wrong. That's the other side of the coin, right? Um, how much do you work for them, with them, and or for them, and you wait until they think, you know, you're you're worth showing. So that's the $1 million question, I guess. I wish I had the answer. I don't know what the answer is. I think the answer maybe is working on both ends. You do both things. Um, I do think that when you look at World of Women, when they started, no one wanted to give them the time of the day. I remember that no one took them seriously. And once they became a real community, and people started seeing the real power on what they were doing, they were more prone with creating the space for them. And I really think that this translates really well to what we're trying to do, is that we need to show them that we're serious. We need to create the community, have I think you just need to have the sales. We need to create the community, show the numbers, because once you show the numbers, then they will give you the space. And I really think a big part of it is visibility. So once you have the space, you have a lot of visibility, and I think a lot of change comes right after that. Drag queens, you can go ahead and speak.
Is it true though that with World of Women, it wasn't until Gary Vee that backed him up that they became popular? I mean, I could be
Um,
wrong. Sorry, I could be completely wrong.
I don't think was one thing. I'm sure that really helped. Uh, there's a lot of force behind that, but I don't think that was the one thing. And I don't know if there was one thing. They definitely started getting momentum, and all of a sudden, the momentum, it was very big. And I think Gary Vee came right there when momentum was building up. So he's definitely was a big part of creating the huge demand, but I don't know if he was the thing.
And I don't know the exact, I guess, science behind this, but I do know that with social causes or social justice issues or anything along those lines, there's a natural trajectory that happens. The fact that I know that I might be totally wrong at, by the way, so no one take me for my word at this, is that social justice issues start to see their biggest like blow up when specifically white women get behind the issue. And I could be wrong there, but that's what I've heard in the past. And I think striking a balance is really what makes the difference here. So just being able to, yes, work within the communities that, like, let's say straight people set up, just because they are the current structures that exist today. And there is power in that. Not to say that they have all the power, because of course we have our own power in building our communities in the way that we have. But I think playing by our own rules and playing by theirs and striking a balance to be able to have the biggest impact, because ultimately that's what we're looking to do here, right? Is have the biggest impact and make the most amount of change. And no one can do that on their own. We have to reach in and find allies and find other communities and work with everyone. And people should be willing to work with us, queer and all other minority groups. So striking balance, I think, is like what I see as the way to move forward.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about momentum is that we've been speaking with a lot of people, and everyone seems to like the idea of the project, and the feeling I get is everyone is kind of waiting to see what happens. And so it's like when the momentum starts, because if everyone just waits for the momentum, when does it start? So who is the one that does the first leap of faith? There needs to be a set number of people that put faith into the project, that believe in it, and then creates the momentum, because if everyone is just looking for the momentum, that it's like it works against the tide. So I don't. It's a very interesting thing to me that I've been wondering, how do you create the momentum if everyone is just waiting to see the momentum?
Right. And oftentimes, I think, I mean, at least in our experience, it does definitely come from within your own community, which is natural. I think, like, as queer people or as minority groups, we want to see other queer people thriving and other minority groups thriving. And at some level, we understand their plight. So we definitely want to support each other. And that's, I think, like, the most beautiful part of this. But that being said, we can't rely only on ourselves, unfortunately. I mean, I wish that it wasn't that way, but like we do need allies and we need other people to stand tall and strong with us across the board. So, I mean, yeah, building momentum is super important. I'd love to hear ideas on what anyone thinks about, like, what is the best pathway to build momentum for these projects that can potentially impact communities in a really profound way. I mean, our project alone, which is one of so many, we're talking about potentially $3 million. That's a lot of money that we could put towards communities that are underserved. And we could make huge change with this. So, how do we build this momentum together? And what are the first steps there? I would love to hear from anyone in the room who has ideas. Fia, nice to see you again. Go ahead.
Hey y'all. So just from an artist standpoint, I know something that I like with projects or that makes me like look at them more is when people start doing their own derivatives of them and like their own one-of-one art based off of it. That always drives more attention to it, and it shows that people actually believe in it if they're actually taking the time out of their day. Just like look at them more is when people of it. So that's something just to get more attention to you guys, and I would be down to do my own one-of-one of like an art piece that you guys would want pumped. If you're interested in that as well.
Yeah, I mean, we would love to see some of the characters that we've been working with in Yes Queen Club, transformed and recreated by artists in the space. I mean, that would make me super happy. And I do agree with you that when that starts, that's when you start seeing more attention into the projects. That's a big signal that people are starting to get invested in their. When you see people investing their own time, they're becoming serious about what they're talking about. Loner, you can go ahead and speak.
Really quick, sorry, Loner. Fia, thank you so much for the offer, and we would absolutely love it, by the way. I'll message you separate from this.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I love that idea too, and like crossovers would be really sick. Like my style, your style, we're doing a similar thing, and we show that unity. Would be really, really amazing to see.
Jay, I think you've had your hand up. Go ahead. You can have the space. Loner, I'm not sure if you're still speaking, but it's cut out for me. So maybe it's just me, but I lost you there.
Okay, I think we're good. So I was just gonna say, I think pretty much everyone in here is aware of NF Queer, what Val is trying to get up and running. I don't know if anyone wants to pin it up there or something, but so what they're trying to do is pretty much have like, I don't even know how to explain it, but one of the aspects of it is they want to do like a newsletter that showcases a specific queer artist or project, queer run project, like every month, I think it was. So if we could like work together on things like that and like kind of more like get our work almost published for like a bigger audience, I think that would also be really cool and helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And Val is amazing. We've been in a bunch of spaces with her and been talking to her. And definitely what she's doing is like, I mean, it speaks true to what we're saying in this space. It's like building out our own spaces. Thank you, Jax. It's building out our own spaces and like doing the work ourselves. And I'm just circling back to that conversation about things like this that we can do. I mean, even having these spaces on Twitter. I mean, Twitter isn't a space that's going to be predominantly queer, but we take it and we make our own community and our own little corner in it. Um, and like things like Fia said, really just like supporting each other and supporting each other in general. I mean, it's so easy just to like and retweet and share at each other's art. And that's something that is like really helpful just in itself. Lex, I want to go ahead and open up the space for you.
Yeah, cool. I just wanted to, I guess, piggyback off of what Fia had mentioned about derivatives. I feel like when we're in a space like the NFT art community, where art is definitely at the forefront of how people are discovering projects and how people are, just participating in them, I feel like maybe that, and that's not one thing I've really considered before, but I guess maybe that's something that projects, whether it's the Yes Queen Club or any other queer project that we can kind of help influence and guide, maybe that's something where we have like some sort of queer collective. I know that there is the NF Queer kind of newsletter kind of ongoing, but regularly we'll see the same people in specific types of spaces, whether they're like these bro alpha spaces or these particular queer spaces where we all more or less follow each other and support each other's projects. I feel like having some sort of benefit coalition or queer collective to maybe strategically develop derivatives of each other's projects could be a good way of not only generating exposure with everyone's respective audiences, but also a good way of, just generally supporting each other's projects in a way that makes sense for an art community, where maybe traditional marketing tactics don't always work. I mean, I've been in several spaces where the concept of promoting or trying to be strategic about how you promote your project is seen as inauthentic or non-organic, and I feel like that could be one way to market within a new Web3 world, where you have one-to-one relationships with people that you kind of coordinate derivative artwork with and kind of leverage each other's talents to help cross-promote.
I mean, I love this, and this is part of what I love so much about this community and why I'm so excited about it. It's like this room has people with all different experiences, and we're all thinking of different ways to help. And it's building these bricks or laying this foundation for all of us. And it's not just for one person. We're not gatekeeping. It's really tools just for everyone across the board. We have about 8 minutes left in the space. I do want to respect everyone's time, but if anyone has anything to say, or if there's any ideas that we think maybe haven't been fleshed out, I'd love to open up the floor now, just sort of open forum. And I really want to just circle back to talk about like the power that we have as a community in Web3.
Well, I just wanted to say something because you mentioned about gatekeeping, and that was one when we created Yes Queen Club. That's the one thing we wanted to make sure we were not doing, and I think that's why we decided to create the way we created the community, which is 100% of all the sales go into the DAO. The DAO was a central part of the project because we wanted to make sure that we were not the ones dictating what happens with the community. We wanted to make sure that this is the community's monster. It's going to be whatever it is that the community decides, and no one is going to tell anyone how things should be done. On it should be a consensus. So I think that's a really important point to bring up.
Yeah, and the DAO is like for me the most exciting part about this project. And before joining this project, I really didn't know much about NFTs. I didn't know much about DAOs or Web3, and I've really found, and honestly, my first introduction was like really introduction into this space was during Art Basel. I attended a few NFT events, and they really felt like broy. And I remember being in those spaces and thinking like, these aren't really my people. But the more time I've spent in this space, the more I found like such a beautiful community, like a diverse, beautiful community of queer people that are willing to uplift and help each other and not gatekeep and like not like open up the space for you to learn and break down these barriers to entry. And the DAO, at least the way that we have our DAO structured and what we're doing with it, to me, is the most exciting, beautiful part about this. It's like we're building this community for future generations to have that representation for them, to have that diversity for them, and then to have the power behind it to really impact them. And I mean, growing up as a queer kid, if I was interested in Web3 and I saw something like this, and obviously the younger generation is way more savvy, I saw something like this, I would be amazed by it. I'm amazed by it now, the fact that like we can do this. It's really incredible.
I just have a question for you guys about the DAO. How did you go about making it? If you have yet.
Yeah. Well, it is. I'm trying to remember the name of the state in the U.S. here where you actually create a company. It's like a LLC, and I want to say Wisconsin, but it's not Wisconsin.
I think it's Wyoming.
Wyoming, right? So they have a DAO structure that you can create, and it's you follow that framework, and then we are using the compound. Its compound framework is what the DAO is going to run on. So that's where you go and you put the proposals forth, and people can go. Anyone that has the NFT on their wallet or that has assigned the NFT to someone else's wallet can go there and make a proposal or vote for the proposals that are there. That's the structure we're going to be using.
I still have so much to learn when it comes to DAOs, by the way, everybody. I think just like everyone else, we're new to this space and we're just learning. I understand basics about it, but I think that like knowing what we can do with it is really the important part. We have about 4 minutes left in this space again. So I just want to remind anyone, if we have any ideas or anything that you want to plug or say, now is like the time to have that open space. I'll give everyone about a moment here.
Yeah, if you have a project you've been working on, if you have a piece that you're selling or you're about to sell and you want to put it up there so everyone can see, just let us know, or you can do it yourself. We're happy to share with everyone in the room here.
And something that's come up in a lot of these spaces is let's really support each other. And that's as simple as following everyone in the room. I mean, we go through and follow everyone that joins our rooms. And when we're in other queer spaces on here, we make sure to join and support all those people. I mean, something as simple as a follow and a like and a retweet is really helpful for us. And I think as all of us, as people in this space, we know that. So just if everyone takes a moment, follow everyone in the space, see how we can support each other, see how we can help each other. That's really what we're trying to do here, like at our core for everything. With the DAO, with NFTs, with Web3, it's really just helping and empowering our community and diversity and representation in general. If no one else wants to speak, I just want to thank you guys all so much for joining the space. This is our 3rd iteration of this. They've been incredible and so impactful. We've learned so much, and I leave each one of these spaces with so much joy. And I like seeing everyone's beautiful face and learning from each of you, and really just seeing how like diverse the space is brings me so much joy. And I'm so excited to see what we're going to do together.
Yeah,
Jax, if you want to close out. Yeah.
Has been a pleasure. I think we're gonna do another one over the weekend, so we'll let you guys know. We'd love to see you again, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day. Bye bye.